When did you decide to become a writer?
When I was a little kid. I mean,
Already?
I was 10 or 11 and reading X-Men and Spider-Man comic books and Stephen King stories, and I thought it'd be a great job to just make up stuff all day about stories about werewolves and vampires and people getting killed in extreme ways.
It was the funny side of it first.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Because I don't think it was as funny to write Underground Railroad.
Well, I mean, humor is a big part of my project,
yes.
But some books can accommodate jokes and sometimes not. And so a story about slavery, the way I was doing it, didn't have a lot of room for humor.
No. I'm always fascinated because great authors just hit the same nail all their lives. Is there a nail you're hitting on since the beginning?
Well, there are a few. I mean, the city, New York City, race in America, American history. I think humor and absurdity is an important part of my project. Again, it's not always there, but addressing the ridiculousness of the world is important to me for some reason. I'm not sure why.
You don't have the ability to close your eyes on things.
Yeah, no.
No. What did you learn about the craft of writing in those 20 last years? What's the most important things you learned about the craft of writing?
I can't articulate it, but I've come to really adore revision and
coming back to the book and coming back to the book.
Yes, and precision in a way that I didn't admire when I was younger. It's like it's the comma. Finding the right place to put or not put a comma.
So can you explain to me how half of the country will actually vote for him?
I think a couple of things. I think one of the things is that the United States was founded, obviously, in genocide of a lot of Native Americans, of course. And then it was founded with slaves. Not just with slaves in terms of the fact that people owned slaves, but slaves essentially sort of built the country. Quite literally, physically built the country. And so one of the things that means is that institution, the institution of slavery, was so foundational that it seeped into almost every aspect of the United States. So in order to have maintained that system of slavery for as long as the United States was able to, and then to maintain the kind of de facto slavery that came after it, you had to have a population that would support the continuation of those institutions. How do you do that? Because you've got a lot of poor white people in the United States as a part of immigration there. Well, tons of people came over as indentured servants. So you've got this mix of enslaved people, indentured servants, poor white people of various sorts, and then you've got this tiny little pyramid at the top, the landowners, the people who are calling all the shots. The people at the bottom have a whole lot in common, actually, So how do you divide them? Race becomes invented to divide these people and to create a hierarchy. So you can say, listen, you might be an indentured servant. You might be in whatever situation you are as a white person. But we have passed a series of laws that have made it so that, quite literally, you can do anything to any black person with impunity. Now we've created a hierarchy. There is always going to be this black underclass, and you might be poor, you might be struggling, but you're always going to be over them. Yeah. And that core strategy of divisiveness, I think, has been in the United States playbook for generations and generations and generations. And so it also is one of the ways that you find situations that are similar right now. Working class and poor white people who voting for Republicans, it is not in their best interest. It worsens their quality of life. It worsens their prospects for good educations for their kids, for decent health care, for any number of things. And yet they vote against their best interests. And I think some of that has to do with reiterations or replaying that old race playbook where you divide people who actually have common interests so that a certain set of interests that are the very top can keep control of everybody.